I have just published my first game that I have ever developed. That's the Musk versus Zuck game, and the journey was quite fun because I know how to code, but I have never developed a game, so let's talk about it a little bit. The main 3 points I would like to discuss here is first, should you even use an engine or write something on your own? By the way, I used Godot, so you know at least for this project what I have chosen. And how do you get the assets? I know how to code. I am not a designer. I cannot reinvent the wheel here. I just can't use Photoshop or Blender or whatever. This time it was a 2D platformer, but next time, I don't know, it will be a 3D FPS, something crazy. I can't model a gun. And the third thing is how simple mechanics, like 2 simple mechanics that I've implemented in the game, can make it much more interesting in my opinion. So starting with the engine, I first understand how things work and then I build on top of that my projects, but I think that in general, when you talk about projects like games, you should look at it from top to bottom. You should understand how the game will look like, how to implement various mechanics and things that you think are relevant to your game. And whenever you write an engine on your own, that's like a lot of work. Just loading an image and adding a collision box to this image, you spend a lot of time just in order for it to work. And game engines give you the complete package, and I need fast results too. I need to see something working before I can actually dig into it and understand better how it works. And Godot did it perfectly for me. Maybe in the future I will develop my own game engine and you will be part of this journey because I think I'll upload it to this channel. As of now, just to fall in love with game development, I think that engines are the best go-to for you. And if you really insist writing your own engine, I really recommend trying to do it bit by bit and first again understand the game. Don't make it like the most generic engine that will work with every game. Just develop what you need for your game. Just an example, if your game doesn't have sound or doesn't have music, so don't develop a whole sound and music system with environmental sounds that you can understand where the sound came from. That's too complicated. Just go for the physics you need, or just go for the collision boxes you need and the assets you need to load, only what you need to do for the game. Second thing about the assets, I'm terribly bad when I try to use Photoshop or Blender or whatever. And I did make some assets for this game, but most of them were taken, of course, with the proper license from Kenney.nl. I'll publish the link in the description below. If we want to get fast results and you're not a designer and it's not like very natural for you to do it, so please use pre-made assets. You just want to get into game development, so why trying to invest 3 weeks in creating a gun model? Just use something that has already been made and maybe edit that. Add some things that you like, make it look like you like, but don't reinvent the wheel each time you want to create a new asset or a new sound effect. This game was developed like the Musk vs. Zuck game in 3 days or 4 days. And the last point here for this one are 2 really cool mechanics I wanted to talk about. The first one is the double jump. Like, double jump is quite a cool mechanic and quite an easy one to implement, but just to show you how a mechanic is way more important than implementing physics for your game. So imagine in this game that whenever you are not on the ground, you're able to jump again to create a double jump. But what is a double jump? So I'll bring you 2 options to define a double jump. The first one will be if you have some y velocity that you give your character in order to look like it jumps. So whenever you double jump, you can just set this y velocity to the same speed or some other speed, and then you just reset the jump speed and it creates the effect of a double jump. But what happens if you don't just set the speed but add speed? Let's say the speed is 100 pixels per second. If I just set it to 100, it doesn't matter when the character tries to jump again. It just jumps in the same speed. But if you add speed, and you have some physics engines in your game, so it matters if the player jumped the moment he left the ground or when he's on the way down. And then the double jump will be more or less effective. And I think those issues are way more interesting than implementing the physics engine itself. It's actually understanding the gameplay and what will be better, what will be a better fit to your game. By the way, in the Musk vs. Zuck game, I set the speed and do not add the speed. For my own reasons. I can actually talk about it in another video if you want to. But that's the first mechanic. The second one are the blocks that are going up and down. The thing here that Zuck, the main boss, also uses this mechanic. I just copied and pasted the code there. What I wanted to show you here is how to use mathematics to actually create a better gameplay that looks way smoother. So right here, the blocks go up and down. And what I want to do is, for instance, if the block is down, so I want it to move like in increasing speed until the middle of the path, and then when it reaches the middle of the path, to go up in a decreasing speed until it reaches, like, I don't know, the velocity of 0. So what I need to do here is to use linear interpolation for the block to smoothly increase its speed, then smoothly decrease its speed, like this. And you should see a graph on the screen. So here Godot also implements some things for me. This is the lerp function. What I do here, I just lerp between the speeds that I want the block to move at. Lerping helps the block to move much smoother and control the speed the way I like, and it's not like moving up and down like a robot, it's actually floating in the air up and down. I am focused on the gameplay, and on the game design, and not on how to implement the lerp function, although this is a pretty simple function, but it doesn't matter. I don't need to know what it does behind the scenes, just what's the input and what's the output that I expect. So I hope that you enjoyed playing the game, and if you didn't, please do. It's for free, supported in all operating systems, and I have some new cool features coming up in the next version, so if you have your spatial features you want to see, and actually let's implement them together right here in the channel. So you can, I don't know, shoot this comment down below. See you soon.